Did he appear to be upset during that period of time?
No.
Did he pay attention to you during that period of time?
Yes.
Did he pay attention to your child during that period of time?
Yes.
During that period of time, your child would have been an infant, correct?
Yes.
Literally less than 2 months old, correct?
Yes.
Did Miles assist you with caring for the infant?
Yes.
Now, you indicated that you knew Mr. Booker, although you did not know Mr. Booker by the name of David Booker. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you did not really know Mr. Hewley. Is that correct?
Yes.
Had you seen Mr. Hewley? How many times have you seen Mr. Hewley in your life? I mean, other than coming to court, how many times have you seen him?
Maybe like one time.
One time?
Yes.
Now, going back to July the 10th of 2022, I think I missed something, but I apologize. Did you pick Mr. Collins up?
Yes.
Was anyone with Mr. Collins?
No.
No. Okay, so he was by himself?
Yes.
Did you see Mr. Collins in possession of any sort of automobile at that time?
No.
Did you see Mr. Collins in possession of any sort of weapon at that time?
No.
Do you recall the specific day when you went to a Lithonia address and picked him up?
Yes.
Was that on July the 10th?
Yes.
Do you recall his mood at the time when you picked him up?
Yes.
He appeared to be upset.
No.
When you picked him up, where did you go? If you recall.
I don't remember.
It's been some time, 2.5 years. Okay. But you guys were still living together with him. You guys were living together at that time, right?
Yes.
And you continued to live together for approximately 2 weeks or so, correct?
Yes.
During that time, did you see Mr. Collins in possession of any sort of weapon?
No.
The search history on July the 10th, did you look up yourself about a incident in Gwinnett County, or did it come to your phone without your requesting it?
I seen something about it and I seen something about it and I pressed on it.
Okay. So you did not independently go looking for it, correct?
Yes.
It came to your phone, correct?
Yes.
And once it came to your phone, you followed up and looked at the specifics, correct?
Yes.
Now, you subsequently also looked on your phone on or about July the 20th, correct?
Yes.
Now, David Booker, to your knowledge, was arrested on July the 20th, was he not?
Yes.
You knew David Booker, correct?
Yes.
Again, was this something you went looking for yourself, or did it come to your phone?
Something that came to my phone. Something that came to my phone.
Once it came to your phone, you proceeded to look at it further, correct?
Yes.
You realized it was about David Booker, correct?
Yes.
Now, when you picked Mr. Collins up on July the 10th, do you recall, and this was, and if you don't know, feel free to say it. Do you recall what he would have been wearing?
No.
It is summertime, is that correct?
Yes.
Was he wearing any sort of hoodie or long sleeve garment, or was he wearing clothes consistent with what he would wear in the middle of the summer?
I don't remember what he was wearing.
And did you see him when you picked him up attempt to try to conceal anything?
No.
You didn't see him attempt to hide a gun, did you?
No.
You didn't have to drop anyone off, did you?
No.
Because you didn't have anyone else with you other than yourself and Mr. Collins, correct?
Correct.
Now, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Booker's attorney, asked you whether or not you ever saw photographs of Mr. Booker on Mr. Collins' social media presence, correct?
Yes.
If I'm understanding correctly, you did not, correct?
Yes.
And as far as Mr. Hewley is concerned, you certainly did not see any pictures of him, correct?
Yes.
Prior to any sort of court proceeding, did you know Mr. Hewley's first name or last name?
No.
How many times would you have seen him prior to Miles' arrest?
One time.
One time. And do you recall when that would have been?
No.
Would that have been in 2022?
Yes.
Do you recall whether it would have been before July 10th or after July 10th?
It was before July 10th. It was before July 10th.
Before July 10th. So after July 10th, you do not see Mr. Collins with Mr. Hewley whatsoever, correct?
Correct.
After July 10th, do you see Mr. Collins with Mr. Booker?
No.
Again, you don't want to be here, do you?
Not really.
But I'm gonna need you to speak up and project so
Okay.
that my court order's taking everything down and we all need to be able to hear your answers, okay?
Okay.
I don't have to ask you to keep repeating yourself, and you're going to get out of here that way quickly, okay?
Okay.
I'll be talk quickly to get to go, you understand that?
Okay.
But the bottom line is, you're with Mr. Collins every day from July 10th until July 25th, right?
Yes.
And you don't see him with either one of these two guys during that entire 15-day period, correct?
Correct.
And you don't recall how long it would have been before July 10th that you would have seen them together, correct?
Correct.
I don't think I have any other questions, Ms. Pledger. Thank you very much for coming.
Ms. Drake,
I don't have any questions at this point.
all right? Mr. Melvin?
Just a couple follow-ups. But first, Ms. Bledger, do you know Mr. Collins?
Yes.
So under oath, Ms. Bledger, you just testified that the victim, Mr. Collins, under oath, said he wasn't concerned. Under oath, today, you said he was not within that. February 2023, you testified to this matter. Under oath. Correct?
Yes.
Let's get through that testimony. Do you agree in your testimony that 23 was closer to the event? Right?
Right.
Okay, in 2023. So July 10, you had the chance to see Tom. This is July 7th. I really don't remember. Okay, did you pick him up and turn very close July 10th? You answered yes. Who was he with? You answered Jeff. Josiah. Yes, sir. You're with. Under oath.
Right. Yes.
Then it was asked again. He was with Josiah. You answered yes. Correct?
Yes.
I'm not misreading it, am I?
No.
You were under oath, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. You're agreeing.
So you indicated that you paid for the rental of the vehicle, is that right?
Yes.
Did you ever see the vehicle?
No.
Okay, so if you didn't see the vehicle, you never rode in the vehicle. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Was that the first time you had ever rented a vehicle for Miles Collins?
Yes.
Do you recall if Miles Collins posted anything, any photos or anything on Instagram with him in the vehicle?
No.
Did you even know what type of vehicle it was?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Bledger.
Ms. Craig? Sir? Okay. Certainly.
asking the state judge, we asked Ms. Fletcher.
Okay. No problem.
No, I don't have anything else to say.
Mr. Clegg, may this witness be released? Any objection to this witness be released? Ms. Drake? Okay. All right, Ms. Pledger, you're free to go. Thank you for being here. State Court's next witness. Good morning. Come up on the podium and raise your right hand. Do you swear upon the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. We're having some audio issues, officer. So if you'll move close to the microphone and project, thank you.
Please tell us your name and spell it, please.
Okay. My name is Cecily Carranza. First name is Cecily. Last name is Karrantza.
And thank you for being here. I see you're in uniform. Where do you work?
I work with the City of Conyers Police Department.
How long have you been a police officer?
I was sworn at Conyers in January of 2014. So 11 years almost.
And what have you done while you've been with Conyers?
I first came on to Conyers as a patrol officer, and then I got promoted to detective in December of 2017. And as a detective, I do crime scene investigations. And in August of 2024, I got promoted to sergeant over the crime scene investigation unit.
And as a crime scene investigator, are you involved in lifting of prints and documenting scenes,
Yes.
taking photographs?
Yes.
And have you kept up with your CSI and post certifications?
Yes.
I want to talk to you about a theft occurring in Conyers of a motor vehicle, Ford Explorer, in April 13th, 2020.
Yes.
Were you involved in that investigation?
I was.
And was that kind of a extensive investigation for your department?
It was.
And did that occur at a QT gas station in Conyers?
Yes.
Was there video that your department obtained?
Yes, a cadet who worked for the Criminal Investigations Division collected it and reviewed it.
And can you make out faces and characteristics on the video?
I could not.
But can you describe what is on that video for us?
Yes.
Your Honor, the law allows for the witness to explain her investigation and what she saw in a summary fashion.
She said you couldn't. Yeah, but I don't think she can describe what's on the video if you don't play it.
Well, I believe the law, Glenn versus State, and other cases allow for.
Give me the name of the case.
Glenn versus the State.
You have a site. Glenn.
Yes, Your Honor. Supreme Court
Versus
case.
State.
Yes.
You have a site.
Georgia 11. Georgia 276,
2017. Okay. And tell me what your alleging Flynn says and allows?
It allows for a witness to testify to what is seen in a video. Just to summarize it in summary fashion, in this video, it wasn't any faces or characteristics. It was just basically what is contained in the video to help the jury.
Okay. Let me hear from the defense.
Your Honor, I think if that is the basis for when, how, and why the vehicle was stolen, we might not be able to recognize sizes and things of that nature could be determinative, and that is the best evidence. Now, she can say, I reviewed the video, and based upon that video, I did A, B, C,
Sure.
but not to say this is what I saw, because her perception of the video is different from someone else's possibly. So that's the basis for the best evidence.
So your objection is best evidence.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis? We certainly can. We're going to ask the jury to step out and the witness to step out for just a moment.
I won't ask for any interpretation.
Hold on, wait. Should give it. Yeah.
Some people aren't able to deconstruct what they're seeing or what they're describing. There are two figures, there are three figures. As soon as you hear any sort of adjectives, then he aggressively, what? How can she know that? And so that's what I'm objecting to. I'm not objecting to a very generic description of what she's seeing that no one can disagree with. It's the adjectives that almost always come angrily, quickly, what? I may have a different interpretation of that without seeing the video. The jury's, without me seeing the video, first of all, I can't, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Judge,
Hold on.
I haven't seen the video. There's a lot of stuff around here. I don't want this witness testifying about a video that I've never seen. I don't even get to a crossover. She says it's two figures that may be three. She says it's four figures that may be two. I think the other two are unrelated to the crime. I don't know.
Yep.
So that's my objection.
All right, Mr. Clegg. Ms. Drake.
Your Honor, people are not distinguishable or recognizable. She's not even going to be able to say that it was male, female, etc.
All right, Mr. Williams.
Your Honor, we'll move on.
What do you mean we'll move on?
I'll skip over the video and just
Are
say,
you going to withdraw the question?
I'll withdraw the question,
From the-
say a different question to what Ms. Drake said. Based on the video, did you do this?
Okay. Did she review it? And
Yes.
didn't she? Okay, all right. We can bring the jury back in. don't know if somebody went to get the witness. Detective Perkins, can you get the witness? Maybe, I don't think anyone went to get her. Maybe they did and I missed it. Thank you, ma'am. We'll bring the jury back in now. We're ready? Would you ask your question, Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Your Honor. Was the vehicle that was reported stolen, the Ford Explorer, recovered?
Yes, it was.
And did you process the interior of the vehicle yourself?
So I processed items that were located inside the vehicle.
And were there any items inside the vehicle connected to Miles Collins?
Yes.
Can you tell us what those items were?
I found 4 Domino's pizza boxes with his name and a phone number on it inside the vehicle.
Sorry. When you say his name, what name was that?
I'm sorry, Miles Collins' name.
And did you personally do some lifting of prints?
On the boxes?
Yeah.
So I processed the boxes using ninhydrin, which is a chemical, and it turns purple. But I did do that personally.
And did you send those off to GBI?
I did.
And so based on your investigation, the items you found inside the vehicle, the video, were warrants obtained for Miles Collins for the arrest from the theft of that Ford Explorer?
Yes.
And that was at a QT gas station, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And did you also investigate an attempted theft also at a QT gas station in Conyers?
Yes.
And what vehicle was that?
I believe it was a white Mercedes.
And was that also June 21, 2020?
I believe so, yes.
And in that case, it was an attempted theft, so does that mean the vehicle wasn't actually taken from that owner?
Yes, it was not taken.
And in the investigation, that was due to some resistance by the owner, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
And in that case, did you review some prints that were obtained on that Mercedes?
Yes, so a patrol officer dusted the vehicle himself, and I looked at the fingerprints that he lifted.
And did you send those off to GBI?
I did.
And based upon what you did and the other investigation, were you able to obtain warrants for the arrest of Miles Collins for the theft of...
I'm going to object. May you first?
Certainly. All right, go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Your Honor. Based on your investigation, we're talking about the attempted theft of the Mercedes at the QT in Conyers. Based on your investigation, were you able to obtain arrest warrant from Miles Collins for that theft?
Yes.
Attempted theft?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Your Honor, at this time, the state would tender into evidence, shown it to counsel, State's Exhibit 99, certified copy of conviction for the two cases, Rockdale County, State of Georgia versus Miles Collins, theft by taking, and an automobile, and attempt to commit theft.
And I'm sorry, can you give me the number of that exhibit?
99, Your Honor?
Okay.
And I have no further questions for the witness. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Hold on just a second. Exhibit 99, certified conviction of Mr. Collins? Okay, is admitted without objection.
Yes, there's no objection.
Okay, all right.
I have questions, but you may ask them on the way from that.
Okay. Mr. Clegg?
No, sir.
Here is. I just have a few questions. I represent Mr. Collins. The first incident would have occurred on the 13th of April of 2020. Is that correct?
It's
And if you could speak up into the microphone
Sorry,
a little
yes,
bit. Yeah,
yes.
okay, great,
Mhm.
thank you. And the vehicle was subsequently recovered at some point, correct?
yes,
And the vehicle would have been recovered on April the 22nd of 2020, correct?
yes,
So that would have been 9 days after the vehicle was originally taken, correct?
yes,
There were inside the vehicle some Domino's boxes, pizza boxes, correct?
yes,
And if I'm understanding correctly, there was some sort of documentation relating to pizza having been purchased by Miles Collins, correct?
yes,
And that pizza would have been, according to the documents that were contained in the file, purchased on April the 21st, correct?
I believe so, yes,
So that would have been 8 days after the fact, correct?
yes,
And that was the basis of the evidence against Mr. Collins in that case, correct?
yes,
Okay. Now, the second case involved an incident where a woman was putting gas in her car, correct?
yes,
And someone attempted to get into the driver's seat, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the woman who was putting the gas in the driver or into the car was having no knowledge.
I didn't watch the video, but that's why, yes, 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 yes,
I mean, she basically confronted the person, right?
yes,
And said to the effect, your punk ass is not getting my car today, or words to that effect, correct?
I believe so, yes,
And then she began pummeling the individual who was taking or attempting to take her car, right?
yes,
No weapon was exhibited by the person who was attempting to take her car, correct?
I don't know,
The woman, have you met the woman?
no,
You don't know whether she was big, small, or physically.
no, sir,
She drove off whoever it was that was attempting to take her car, right?
she, like,
I mean, the car was not successfully taken.
right, right,
And when the woman confronted whoever it was in the car, that person fled, right?
yes,
That person did not seek to inflict any sort of injury upon the woman, correct?
not that I know of,
And there was no injury reported by the victim of the entry into the car, correct?
I don't believe so,
No hospital was taken or required whatsoever.
I don't know that, yeah.
And did you arrest anyone else in regard to that particular incident?
I did not,
Now, this case was resolved by a plea of guilty, was it not?
yes,
Okay. So Mr. Collins came into court and admitted his guilt as to those offenses, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good enough. Thank
Okay.
you for coming.
All right. Yes. Good morning.
Were you the lead investigator in these incidents?
I was not.
Okay. I understood that the first vehicle was taken on April 13, 2020. Is that right?
Yes.
Recovered on April 22nd, 2020. Is that right?
Yes.
But I may have missed it. What was the date? Thank you very much. No further questions.
Mr. Drake? Mr. Williams? Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much,
much.
Sergeant. You are released. State cause. Next witness. Sergeant, if you'll come on the platform and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Thank you. Please be seated. Sergeant, we're having some audio issues in our courtroom, so
Okay.
I'm gonna ask that you try to project. If you come closer to the microphone,
I
that
have
will help
3 little
us.
kids, so I can project.
Okay, projection is good in my courtroom. Thank
Yes, ma'am.
you. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant Jones, where are you employed currently?
Currently, I'm employed with Braswell Police Department.
How long have you been a police officer?
I've been a police officer since 2011.
Back in 2018, where were you employed?
City of Atlanta Police Department.
For your entire career, have you been a post-certified officer of domestic violence?
I have.
Can you tell us what a be on the lookout is?
Be on the lookout is commonly abbreviated as a BOLO. The city, whatever jurisdiction you're working, investigations, and a lot of times the ground level troops can even send out BOLOs, but typically a BOLO is from a criminal investigator who is investigating in a case and believes that there is either a person or vehicle of interest in a case. Sometimes there will be active warrants associated with a BOLO, but oftentimes it's for investigatory purposes where we're attempting to locate somebody so that we can interview, detain, or just some sort of fundamental part of an investigation.
Could it also be for stolen vehicles too? Look out for those.
Yeah, absolutely. When a vehicle is flagged on ACIC, ACIC is the national database that's used to track a vehicle. So registrations are on ACIC, stolen hits are on ACIC, and so are if a driver, a registered owner of a vehicle has a warrant for their arrest, we'll also flag that on ACIC. And what that does is it allows an officer who were to run that tag for any reason, whether that is just driving by it or as part of a traffic stop, to be given standardized information about that vehicle or the registered owner.
Thank you. So in October 24th, 2018, did you have a BOLO for a Camry when you were working for APD?
I did.
And this was a stolen vehicle in ACI, correct?
It was.
And did you spot that Camry when you were working as an APD officer?
We did.
Tell us about what happened when you spotted that Camry you were looking for.
At that time, I was assigned to a specialized unit, and that unit was used by the command staff. In the city of Atlanta, every zone commander is given the opportunity to staff a specialized unit which can be tasked to follow up on individual investigations or for special purpose projects. Sometimes those are citizen complaints about a specialized issue which requires additional attention that the ground troops may not be able to offer, and sometimes that may be as part of a greater investigation where, again, the major can allot resources to ensure that something is taken care of just because manpower is an issue. That day, that was as part of a larger investigation. A vehicle had been used in a series of crimes, and our major, who had our team as part of a task force, was given us information and a bolo to attempt to locate and apprehend individuals associated with the vehicle and the vehicle itself because it had been used in a series of crimes.
And when you got behind that vehicle, what did the vehicle do?
The vehicle, we were in a marked patrol car that day because our purpose was to participate in a lawful traffic stop, and as part of that we want to be in a recognizable vehicle, not an undercover vehicle. So we were in a marked patrol car with markings on the side, front, and then a blue light bar attached to the top. When we pulled behind the vehicle, before we even activated our lights and sirens, the vehicle immediately fled from us at a high rate of speed.
And did you pursue the vehicle personally?
Yes, I personally was the lead vehicle in the pursuit.
And what was the pursuit, if you can just summarize that?
The pursuit was non-typical in some ways, in that it was extremely long in duration. The chase lasted approximately 11 minutes, which at high speeds is not only incredibly dangerous for the drivers of that vehicle, for the officers assisting, but also for the public. In that 11 minutes, we crossed multiple zones, so different areas of Atlanta, and because of how many police officers we passed, at one point in time there was 20 to 25 patrol vehicles involved in the pursuit and a helicopter immediately above. We chased the suspects through a school while they were dismissing the students, so there was hundreds of kids outside trying to cross the street, and at one point a civilian was struck by the vehicle in the Grant Park neighborhood.
Did the vehicle, and this is the Camry you were looking for, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did it ever come to rest?
Yes, so the vehicle, like all pursuits, it eventually ended in a crash. The vehicle crashed and the helicopter was immediately overhead, so the pilots were able to maintain a visual on the occupants as they fled on foot from the vehicle.
Was Mr. David Booker arrested?
He was.
Based on your apprehension of Mr. Booker and any follow-up investigation, was he charged with the theft of that camera? Theft by receiving of the camera?
Yes, he was charged.
Sergeant Jones, thank you so much. Other attorneys may have some questions. Your Honor, at this time, on tender, I've showed it to counsel. State's Exhibit 100. This is a certified copy of conviction. State of Georgia versus David Booker from Fulton County Superior Court. 18 SC 162842 is the case number. Let's tender that certified copy of conviction for the case that's been testified about into evidence.
Okay. Second, hold on a second. Adjourn. State's Exhibit 100, the conviction of Mr. Booker is admitted without objection.
Morning, sir.
My name is Lawrence Lewis. If I ask you a question you don't understand, you just let me know, and then I'll try to rephrase it so it makes sense, okay?
Yes, sir.
I heard your testimony that the Toyota Camry, which was eventually crashed, was a vehicle that was used in other crimes. Is that right?
That's correct, sir.
That was your testimony. I don't need to know the crimes, but I'm just trying to understand the period of time of the other crimes. Is it a week, a month, 6 months, if you can recall?
Yes, sir. I do recall. It was within 24 hours.
Okay, within 24 hours. And I heard you say suspects, occupants, so it sounds like there were multiple people in the vehicle after the Camry crashed. Is that right?
There was 5 people total, sir.
5 people total. And all 5 people ended up running out of the vehicle at the time that the vehicle crashed.
Yes, that's accurate, sir.
What's been marked State's Exhibit number 100, which is a certified copy of the
Have you seen sentencing orders before?
I have seen them, yes, sir.
Okay, on that first page, it has a date of birth for Mr. David Booker, does it not?
I'll have to locate it because
It's
we
up there
don't,
on
we
the
don't
right.
usually get this.
That's
paperwork.
fine, right-hand corner?
The 92701?
Right.
Yes, sir.
And the Toyota Camry was crashed on October 24th, 2018, is that right? Is that the
Yes,
date?
I see the date on here, but to be fair, I'm seeing it on here. I don't really remember the date off of hand, but I'm assuming this is accurate.
That's fine, that's fine.
Okay.
I think the date that was proffered was October 24th, 2018, and I think that's the date that is contained in the indictment as the date of
Okay.
the death by receiving and the obstruction. Do you want to check that?
No, I
Okay, that's
believe
fine.
it. I have no
Okay.
reason to dispute it.
My real point is on October 24th, 2018, when the Toyota Camry crashed and 5 people ran from the Camry, David Booker was 17 years old, if we believe the date on the certified conviction. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say, sir.
Do you have any idea of when the actual Toyota Camry was stolen?
I do not offhand.
Okay. Do you know anything about the circumstances of how the Camry may have been stolen?
No, sir.
You indicated that the helicopter was following the occupants after the crash, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you see the crash?
No, I didn't see the crash.
That's a cool question.
Did you see that you pulled up and saw the actual vehicle crash? Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's
right.
right.
Right, but you didn't see the vehicle as it's crashing, ING. You didn't see
No.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Were the folks that were in the helicopter, was this daytime? It was daytime. Because
Yes,
you
sir.
passed the school. Were they able to tell who the driver was in the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
who
they
was-
were able to see when the driver fled. We could, just to clarify, we could see the helicopter because of our distance, but couldn't see the car as it crashed, if that makes sense.
Right, right. Were all 5 people apprehended?
No, 4 of the 5 were apprehended. 1 person evaded us.
4 of the 5 people were apprehended, and did the helicopter folks communicate to you who the driver was?
They communicated to us, yes. At the time of the accident, like when people were running, yes.
That's right. They told you who they thought the driver was.
Yes.
Who they think the driver was?
What was his name?
Yes.
Mikkel Redding, I believe.
Okay, not David Booker.
Correct.
So David Booker is along. David Booker is 17. Is along for a ride in a stolen vehicle. We don't know the circumstances of how the vehicle was stolen or when the vehicle was stolen. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay. After the vehicle crashes, you've already testified. You come up on the crashed vehicle. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's accurate, sir.
Was a search done of the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Search of the vehicle. Did it reveal? Any weapons in the vehicle at all?
I don't remember if a gun was found in the vehicle or not, to be honest.
Okay. Is that the type of thing that would make it as some kind of report?
It is, absolutely.
Is that also the type of thing that might have made it onto an indictment, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony?
Typically, if a gun is abandoned in a stolen vehicle, no, we don't add that if there's multiple occupants.
I got you.
Especially depending upon the size. So in this circumstance, because it was a sedan, any passenger could have reached to any point in the car. So my unit would not have charged somebody with the gun charge if it was in the car and we could not determine due to a GSR test or an admission who it was. So no, I wouldn't say it's accurate to say that we would have charged someone necessarily if we found a gun in the car.
Fair enough. GSR being gunshot residue.
Yes, sir.
So do you even recall if there was any gun found in the car?
I honestly do not remember.
Okay, do you recall if there was any gun found in any of the people that were fleeing, any of the 4 of the 5 that were caught that were fleeing?
I do not remember.
All right. I don't have any further questions. Thank you very much, Sergeant Jones. Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Drake. Oh, sorry.
I don't know the number of this exhibit. Is that what this is?
Certified copy of the in regard to Mr. Booker.
I believe that's what it is. Okay. Thank you.
I probably do not have any questions, but let me take a look. There are actually 2 people listed on the indictment, correct?
Yes.
And one is David Booker, correct?
Yes.
And the other is Gervonta Dupree, is that correct?
That is correct.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yeah.
That's how it sounds.
You don't see Miles Collins' name on that particular document.
I do not.
You think so? Thank you very much.
Ms. Drake. Certainly.
You want to look at this? There you go.
That seems to be the common theme. Thank you. Let's have a few follow-up questions. So even though you stated that, which is true, that Mr. Booker was 17 on this date, he had only been 17 by approximately a month, give or take. Would that be a fair statement?
I didn't remember that at the time, but if you're saying that based on the date of birth, then yes, I wouldn't have any reason to dispute it.
And in this indictment, let me give it back to you, I understand. The individuals are not charged with stealing the vehicle, but they're charged for basically having a car that they knew or should have known was stolen. Would that be a fair statement?
Correct. Only if we have somebody in the act of stealing it would we charge them with the actual theft. I would say, 99.9% of theft charges are actually the receiving of the stolen property, so just being in possession.
And also, you talked about that typically you don't add charges on guns, especially after there's been a crash. Did you say that?
What I was saying was that if there's multiple occupants of a vehicle, it becomes really hard to determine who was actually in possession of the gun. So me personally, I would not charge everyone with the gun or, guess on who it was unless I could determine it through some sort of evidence like admission of one of the offenders or a residue test or something else. I wouldn't charge every occupant.
That's very fair of you. Because anything could happen during the wreck or something could be thrown while trying to leave the car, etc. Would that be a fair statement?
That's accurate, ma'am.
And the last question, Josiah Hewley, he is not charged in that indictment. Is that a fair statement?
That's accurate, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I have nothing else.
Mr. Williams?
No, we
May we release this? All right, Sergeant, thank you for being here. You are released. And I need exhibits 99 and 100 up here on my bench so that we keep track of those. Thank you. Comfort break. Absolutely. All right, let's take a 10-minute morning comfort break. And court is down. We are off the record. Okay, the state will call its next witness.
Trooper Marsh.
Good morning. If you'll come up on the podium and remain standing, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give on this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated. Trooper Marsh, we're having some audio issues in our courtroom, so I'm going to ask you to try to project, come up to the microphone and project like you're a school teacher, maybe, just so that everybody can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. Please tell us your name.
I am Trooper William Marsh.
And Trooper is not your given name. Is that where you're employed at Georgia State Patrol?
That is correct.
You know, I see you're in civilian clothes. Is this your off day?
No, sir.
You're dressed like this for court.
Yes, sir.
And are you still a state highway patrolman?
I am.
How long have you been a law enforcement officer for?
About 7 years.
Has all of that been with highway patrol?
That is correct, sir.
Please, can you tell us about an arrest that you were involved in November the 14th, 2019, involving a stolen Kia?
On that day, I was just finished a crash. I was sitting I-20 westbound, just under McDaniel Street, when APD came across the radio saying they were tracking a stolen vehicle out of DeKalb County that was traveling I-20 eastbound passing Martin Luther King. I responded to their call, let them know that I was going to be heading to them. I turned around on Lee Street and started headed back eastbound. I was able to locate APD as they were exiting the connector ramp heading northbound from I-20 eastbound. I located what they said was a brown stolen Kia Sportage. After passing several APD officers, I located the vehicle. It didn't have its lights on, made it very noticeable. Once I approached the vehicle, in my patrol vehicle, I activated my blue lights on the right shoulder. The vehicle
Was it dark and they didn't have the lights on?
Yes, sir. It was like that daylight saving time, so it's a little dark outside and heavy traffic.
And so you put your blue lights on to pull over that Kia Sportage?
That is correct, yes, sir.
And what did the Kia Sportage do at that point?
At that time, the vehicle pulled onto the right shoulder and began to flee from me. I then pursued the vehicle down the right shoulder of the connector ramp heading northbound towards 75 North. Once we jumped on the right shoulder, we were passing real heavy traffic. The vehicle then darted into the heavy traffic to attempt to, avoid me.
Did the vehicle hit any other vehicles? Was there anything like that that happened?
Yes, sir. So during the pursuit, once we actually got onto 75 North, the vehicle was able to maneuver through heavy traffic all the way from the 5th lane all the way over to the HOV lane. Once it got into the HOV lane, it tried to pass a Chevy Tahoe on the left side of it. It struck the rear of that vehicle and then continued on up the HOV lane.
Did you ever see the driver of that Tahoe again?
That is correct, yes, sir. So once the pursuit continued, they took the HOV ramp to Piedmont Avenue. At the top of the ramp, I was able to perform a pit maneuver and stop the vehicle. Once that happened, I was able to apprehend the driver of the vehicle, and then that driver of that Tahoe actually came to the scene after.
Was that driver okay?
Yes, sir.
And the driver of the Kia Sportage, was that Josiah Hewley?
Yes, sir.
What is a pit maneuver?
It's a precision mobilization maneuver, a technique used by certified law enforcement officers to terminate a pursuit.
Is that with you getting in front of the vehicle and stopping it?
No, sir. That would be placing a precise, basically a move to break the traction or have the vehicle lose traction to attempt to slow it down.
Oh, okay. Making some contact to make it slow.
That is correct, yes, sir.
And you're fully trained and do that as a state highway patrolman?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Was the vehicle searched as well?
It was, yes, sir. It was disclosed to me by the officers on scene. I actually,
Mr. Williams?
Let me rephrase that, Your Honor.
Okay.
Were you able to recover anything?
yes, sir. So at the end of the pursuit, once I pitted the vehicle, I was able to exit the vehicle. Once I exited the vehicle, there were two subjects in the vehicle. Mr. Hughley was the driver, and then you had a passenger in the vehicle. I was able to get to the vehicle before they could even get out, so I had to kind of wait for them to exit the vehicle because I can't take two on one. Well, once they exited the vehicle, once I passed the car, I could see that there was a weapon on the driver's seat of the vehicle.
And what was that weapon?
I think it was a Mac 9.
And was there a foot pursuit, or were you able to apprehend Mr. Hughes?
It was. So once they both exited the vehicle, I actually pursued the passenger first, pushed him down for APD to apprehend him, and then I continued my pursuit after Mr. Hughley, which we ran towards John Portman. He tried to come off the high-rise curve onto the main road where he fell on his face, and then he rolled on his back. And then from there, I drew my taser, gave him commands to surrender, which he did.
And was Mr. Hughley then charged with offenses related to that?
That is correct.
And, Your Honor, at this time we standard States 101, which is a plea to those charges. Mr. Josiah Hughley.
Is it certified?
It is certified, yes.
Any objection? Ms. Drake? Okay, it's admitted without objection in trial, subject to previous motions.
Trooper Marsh, thank you so much. The other attorneys may have some questions for you.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Ms. Drake? Yeah.
Do you recall the name of the other individual that was charged in this case?
Not the first day, but the last day was Morgan.
Okay, so it was not Miles Collins or David Booker. Would
No.
that be a fair statement?
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
And may I approach the witness, please?
Yes, ma'am. Anytime.
So based upon the incident date, I'm going to show you where at least my client's date of birth. He would have been 17 at the time of this incident, correct?
Yes,
And the incident date is listed as November 14th of 2019?
yes, ma'am.
And he would have entered a plea. Can you see when that plea is dated? Is it dated December the 30th of that year?
Sir.
Yes,
She
absolutely.
making.
I'm sorry.
Y'all normally don't see
No,
this
ma'am.
happen.
No, ma'am.
Excuse me. Yes, it was dated back to what day?
It was December 27th of 2019. Yes, ma'am.
So about a month later.
Correct.
And in looking at the sentence itself, did he receive credit for time that he was in custody from the incident date to the present date?
That is correct.
And also, just one second, please. So this plea was entered as a first offender, is that correct?
That is correct.
And first offender, if they complete that, is not a conviction, is that correct?
I have no knowledge. That is correct.
He was not charged or pled to stealing the vehicle, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, which I don't misstate it. He pled to having on or within arm's reach a firearm. Would that be based upon the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how old the other individual was that was in the car?
No, ma'am.
I believe that's all I have. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, the jury, Trooper Marsh and the next two final witnesses of today, I believe are all going to be about Josiah Hewley, and so we've decided to let Ms. Drake go first. That's why the difference in order. Certainly. Okay, Mr. Williams?
No further, no reason.
Okay, may we release Trooper Marsh?
Thank you.
Any objection to releasing this witness? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trooper Marsh. You are released, and have a good day. State call its next witness.
Tyron John?
Sergeant, is it Sergeant, we think?
In abundance of caution, baby, Sergeant.
Yeah, Anthony
Yes.
Trujon. Okay, I want to make sure I had the correct witness. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Yes, we did list him as Sergeant.
No, that's okay, it's an odd last name. Good morning. If you come up on the podium or remain standing, if you raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. You sound like you've got a pretty husky, strong voice, but we're having some audio issues, so I might ask you to move forward if we can't get the projection into the courtroom. We're just having some audio issues.
Yes, Your
Thank
Honor.
you. Mr. Williams?
Thank you so much, Your Honor. Please tell us your name and rank, title, where you're employed.
I'm Sergeant Anthony Tyrone John. I'm employed by the Atlanta Police Department.
And how long have you been a police officer?
About 10 years now.
Has it all been with APD?
Yes, sir.
And you've been post-certified with arrest powers your entire law enforcement career?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever be on the lookout for a stolen vehicle, black Altima, on July 6, 2021?
The stolen vehicle was a Honda Accord, but yes, that was on July 6, 2021.
And what was the black Altima? Was there a lookout for that vehicle?
Yes, so that was a suspect vehicle from the theft. In the theft report for the Honda Accord, the victim was listed as saying that the suspect vehicle was a black Nissan Altima with front bumper damage.
Did you locate that black Altima of interest?
Yes, we did locate that black Altima.
What happened when you approached that black Altima?
So when officers attempted to do a traffic stop on the vehicle failed to yield and fled recklessly.
Was there a chase?
Yes, Georgia State Patrol troopers initiated pursuit, and we provided mutual aid.
Did the vehicle eventually come to rest, the Altima?
Yes, the vehicle crashed into a power line pole.
How many subjects were in the vehicle?
There were 3 subjects in the vehicle.
And were you personally able to apprehend any subjects?
Yes, I apprehended the driver, Mr. Josiah Hewley.
And you said he was the driver, is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Hewley? Were the keys recovered from Mr. Hewley's person for the vehicle?
Yes, during the search and to arrest, I recovered the keys to the Nissan Altima.
And was there a firearm recovered in the vehicle?
Yes, firearm was located on the driver's seat.
Is that where Mr. Hewley was seating as the driver?
Yes.
And did Mr. Hewley waive his Miranda rights and talk about what happened?
Yes. All right, I'm going to sustain Ms. Drake's objection. We're going to strike that question, and Mr. Williams is going to ask you a different question. Thank you.
And based on what you've described to us, was Mr. Hewley arrested and charged?
Yes.
Thank you. The other attorneys may have some questions for you, Sergeant. Thank you for coming.
Ms. Drake.
I'm sorry, you said there were a total of 3 people in the car?
Yes.
Were any of the other individuals in the car a Mr. David Booker or Miles Collins?
No.
And when did you arrive on the scene?
At the crash.
At the crash. So you don't know anything that occurred prior to the crash? Would that be a person?
Yes.
And it was a pretty serious crash, right? Like the fire department had to be called to put out a little fire,
Yes, the fire department was called out, put out a fire.
damage to the vehicle.
Yes.
Would you say significant damage to the vehicle?
Yes.
So there would have been a driver, there would have been a person in the passenger seat, and there would have been someone in the back seat. Is that correct?
Yes.
And being charged for, other than the other charges, as it relates to the Honda that was the subject of this, he was not charged with actually taking that vehicle. Would that be a person?
No, he was charged with the theft of the Honda.
How do you have just enough?
Certainly.
I believe that's all I have right now.
All right. Mr. Lewis?
No question.
Okay. Anything further? All right.
Can I just ask one more question?
Absolutely.
To make sure I have this. What was the date of this, sir?
Which one? I'm sorry.
What was the date that you encountered Mr. Hewley?
July 6th, 2021.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Williams? Okay. All right, Sergeant, you are released. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And the state call its next witness.
The last witness today is an officer, Jasmine.
right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in these matters the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Officer, you seem to have a good voice, but we're having some audio issues, so I may ask you to get closer to the microphones just for projection.
Okay.
Thanks. Mr. Williams.
Thank
sorry.
you so much. Please tell us your name for the record.
Officer Jasmine Rivera,
How do you spell Jasmine?
Jazmine,
Rivera's common spelling.
RIV as in Victor, ERA.
Thank you. You were dressed in Atlanta police uniform. Are you a police officer?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
About 7 years.
Has all of that been with APD?
Yes, sir.
Have you been post-certified with arrest powers your whole career?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about an arrest February the 21st of 2021 of a stolen Chrysler?
Yes, sir. So on February 21st, 2021, I was tracking a stolen 2019 Chrysler 300. It was in the area of Zone 4, which is going to be the Campbellton Road corridor southwest. And unmarked, and one of our undercover units was able to locate the vehicle at 3160 Greenbrier Parkway, which is an Exxon gas station. GSP was in the area as well.
May please, and I know that, she may need to refer to her report, but I'm willing to object to reading from the report. I'll ask that she have to testify.
Certainly.
I agree.
Okay, all right, so let me just direct, officer, if you would, if you need to, there may be some questions asked. If you brought your report, you may need to refer from it, but we would like to get your recollection as you recall it today. Yes. Oh, I know why you're approaching. Okay, all right. All right, go ahead, Mr.
Thank you.
Williams.
So please testify as to what you remember, and if your report helps you refresh your recollection, may I look at my report?
Okay.
So could you have your first question again? Let's start over.
Yes, thank you. So you were on the lookout for a stolen Chrysler 300. Were you able to encounter that vehicle?
Yes, our undercover unit was able to get eyes on it at an Exxon gas station. Georgia State Patrol was in the area along with one of my units. As we blue lit the vehicle, it took off. Georgia State Patrol was able to pursue the vehicle into South Fulton, where it crashed into a construction site. 2 males bailed from the vehicle, the driver and the front passenger, and then we were able to get the rear passenger detained.
Was that you personally?
No, GSP already had the rear passenger detained when we arrived on scene.
And who was that rear passenger?
Josiah Hughley.
Was there anything in the seat where Mr. Hughley was?
On the floorboard where he was sitting was a firearm.
Do you know what the firearm was?
Glock with an extended mag.
And was he arrested and charged in that case?
He was.
Officer Rivera, thank you so much. The other attorneys may have some questions about what you did in that case.
Okay.
Ms. Drake?
Some construction equipment that was in the road.
And how many total occupants were there?
3.
And 2 fled and one was apprehended in the back of the car.
Correct.
If I may have just a moment, please, Your Honor.
Certainly.
I believe that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis?
I don't have any questions, thank you, Judge.
Mr. Clegg? All right, Mr. Williams? All right, may we release Officer Rivera? Thank you very much for being here. You are released.
No other witnesses, Your Honor.
Today.
Maybe publish 99, 100,
Yes, and then I need them back here, because I think one's on the witness stand. Okay, all right, Eddie, if you will assist Mr. Williams in publishing these written documents to the jury. They can hand them down. You might want to keep them together so we make sure that each one of them sees all of them. Just so a jury knows, you will have these back in the deliberation room. But we're just giving you a chance to look at them now after the officer's testimonies. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to first thank you very much for the attention you've given on going through State's Exhibit 99, State's Exhibit 100, and State's Exhibit 101. I appreciate your attention in reviewing all the pages of those documents. You will have them with you when you deliberate. I like to tell you as much as I possibly can legally about what's going on the case. When Officer Rivera was on the stand, there was a request to approach, and I just wanted to let you know that I have a court order, and there is a policy: no law enforcement. Anyone cannot bring a weapon into this courtroom, including law enforcement. That would be true of an FBI agent if an FBI agent was testifying. No weapons are allowed in the courtroom. My deputies, we've had the pleasure of having Deputy McCrae and Deputy Royals most of the week, but they are here to protect you foremost, the attorneys, the defendants, everyone's in the courtroom, even our cameraman from Atlanta News First, court reporter, my bailiffs, and me. And they are the only ones by order, the sheriffs, our sheriff's deputies that are allowed to have weapons for the safety of everyone. So at one point, one of my deputies thought Officer Rivera mistakenly had a weapon on her and forgot to secure it outside my courtroom, and then Mr. Melvin approached her and she did not have a weapon. So that's what that was all about. I just wanted to let you know. We are going to be ending for today. The weather is crazy, and I want you to know that if Gwinnett schools go digital, or Gwinnett schools are closed on Tuesday, because of course Monday is a holiday and we'll be closed and you'll be off. But if that happens, the schools are closed, the courthouse is closed. That's how our administration handles it. Even if Tuesday and Wednesday the schools are closed and we're out, I don't want you to worry, because we are moving at a very good speed with this case. And I can't imagine that you would not get the case for deliberation at the latest, even if we were out Tuesday and Wednesday, by Monday of the third week. So we're fine on time. Enjoy your holiday. Do not stress if there is a school closure and you just have an extra day off. I want to remind you again of the rules. You're not to talk to anyone about this case, including your fellow jurors. You're not to research anything about this case. You're not to post anything on your social media. Look up any social media of the defendants, any news stories. I imagine this weekend there may be some news stories on the local news. Sometimes it makes national news when trials are filmed, so just kind of try to stay away from the news, or if you hear it come on, just turn it off. And have a wonderful weekend and a good holiday. We'll see you Tuesday at 8:45, planning on starting at 9, unless there's a snow day. Thank you very much. See you next week. Right. I know that Mr. Lewis had asked that I go through the colloquy about testifying with his client, since it is a Friday. And so I know are there any other matters that we need to take up before I do that?
We also have the lead detective and we find some filters in the statements and systems. So we think that they would be in those hopefully
right, I will definitely do that for Mr. Booker. Mr. Clegg, do you want me to do that for your client, or do you want your client to just be here when I do it for Mr. Booker? I've been requested by Mr. Lewis to go through defendant's right to testify with Mr. Booker. Do you want your client here while I do that, or do you want me to go through those rights not to give me an answer with your client also, Mr. Collins? Okay, and Ms. Drake, same questions.
It would be the same for my client as well, and I have already informed my client that we would ask him.
Okay, and so I'm going to direct this at Mr. Booker. These are questions I will ask each of you, Mr. Collins and Mr. Hewley, at a different time, and I'll ask them again of Mr. Booker at a different time when we come to that juncture. But your attorney specifically, Mr. Booker, has asked me to go through those questions that are required, so since we have a 3-day weekend. Okay? Mr. Booker, do you understand that you have the right to testify if you want to testify, and that no one can prevent you from doing so? Okay? Do you understand, Mr. Booker, that no one can make or compel you to testify? Mr. Booker, do you understand that you have the right to not testify if you do not want to? Right? Do you understand, Mr. Booker, that it is your personal decision, not your lawyer's decision, whether you choose to testify or you choose not to testify? Okay? Do you understand that if you do not testify or you choose not to testify, I will instruct the jury that your decision not to testify cannot be used against you? Are you aware that this is the only time you can testify during your trial after the state rest? Okay. Are you aware that once the verdict comes back from the jury, you cannot change your mind and then elect to testify? Do you understand that if you choose to testify, you will both be examined and questioned by your counsel, Mr. Lewis, but you will also be cross-examined by one of the prosecutors, either Mr. Williams or Mr. Melvin? I'm not going to ask you if you want to testify the next time I go through those questions with you. I will ask you that question, what decision you've made. And Mr. Collins and Mr. Hewley, I will be asking you individually those questions too. All right, anything we need to take up before we go off the record? Thank you. I did not advise you of that. Thank you, Mr. Clegg. So, Mr. Booker, do you understand that if you choose to testify, Mr. Clegg, on behalf of Mr. Collins, will be able to cross-examine you? And Mr. Booker, do you understand that if you choose to testify, Ms. Drake, on behalf of Mr. Hewley, will be able to cross-examine you? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Clegg. All right. Anything else? All right. We're off the record. Court is adjourned. Hopefully, we're going to see you at Tuesday at 8:45 and start at 9.